2 letters, 1 word, the meaning of life. Yeah. Previously on Kimba TV. Is the PNL greener than the Latuche, or the Latuche greener than the PNL, y'all? Levels to the upside, levels to the downside, clean bola retest. So Alpeasy was asking about, am I gonna take a short from the 44 structure sweep? I'm not going to, because that's been the plan, but there's an opportunity there. The only time that I would add or get into a new short, like on TapIt, on exchanges that I haven't entered a position yet, would be the 46 area. 45, 46, obviously top heavy. Mic check. Schwiggity, schwaggity, y'all. Happy Thursday! We got a lot to do today, gentlemen. Destax says, did you already add to the short? That's a negative. Let me get everything up and running here. And I don't know if you saw on the VIP, but I have limits in on the VIP already, y'all. I have some good limits in. 5 limits have been placed on the VIP. Says, I built a net from 45.8 to 47 for now, just in case I'm not here when it happens. I would be careful, Eruzi, with putting blind limits when you're not there. I'm okay with putting blind limits in if I can watch Bookmap and the OI and the CVD. But if I had to go on a 2-hour work call, or I probably would cancel the limits and just have alarms and then come back and reassess. Everything is, probabilities. We've talked about this short give it up for the math. We've talked about this short for quite some time, but let's not forget that if there's enough of, idiots here, including us, it's going to go. So, I'm risking unrealized profits. So I'm totally Gucci. You need to make sure that you're okay if you get fulfilled and full stopped. Yes? Zatu says, could you show the Bugammas? Absolutely, brother. That's what we got to start off with. Get that money, Bugatti. What the fuck? Oh, yeah, by the way, I'm watching data center videos for my home networking. I would assume, before I look, it's going to be higher than 5,000. Okay, it's at 5,000. So 5,050, 10. So pretty, I don't know if you would consider that even distribution, but I would say it's pretty even distribution. So it's net neutral with the high probability that it's going to try to pull it to 50,000 or 5,010, 5,020. Okay. But we've seen even distribution stuff before, and it didn't quite get there. So we'll see what it is. 5,000, 5,020. Okay? 5,000, 5,020. And you have a little bit of the negative open interest being a little bit bigger. So there's a chance that it's going to tap 40, 50, 20. Maybe a little bit of a pullback down to 49.80. Okay? So 50, 10, 5,000. And then, well, I don't know if this is going to be that big, but 49.80 is the other support as well. Bugatti? We getting nasty with the Bugatti money. Estudio, Dirty Andy. Estudio says short now. Watch the YouTube highlights now. Yeah, I don't know how many days we said it, Estudio, but I said do not be the guy that starts talking about, should I enter? Should I enter, Kimba? Should I enter, Kimba? Wait, should I enter? Just stick to your plan. Dirty Andy, let's go. For love and peace, let's go. Miharu, let's go. Revs QQ. When do you really use the left narrow window? I use it sparingly. It's not really to use on a shorter time frame. It's the spot where the walls are. Alrighty. Our Tarzava, Altcoin, Poppy, Dirty Andy, Axel Poro, Miharu, Z Dubs, The Flame Riot, Altcoin Poppy, Collectible, Holly, Aurum Eternus, let's go. Invincible, let's go. Ricky Rampage, let's go. Maddie Candles, let's go. Did I get filled? I have to juggle a whole bunch of shit right now, so bear with me. Okay. Okay. Get nasty, y'all! I gotta keep this open. Let's go, baby! Ladies and gentlemen, the math is the math, y'all. How we doing? How we doing? Are you enjoying this shit? Who's been able to follow along? Who's been able to follow along? Are you enjoying the math, ladies and gentlemen? Because you can't make up the pixel, y'all. Because you can't make up the pixel, y'all. Quit playing with me. We got Elliot in the house, Deikiku in the house, Space Cash in the house, Lobob, Connoisseur, Do You Believe? Ricky Rampage, Mick Ellum, Jianlu, Destax, Populous, Devhey, Bonkstar, RZNZ, Nightwatch, BTC, Invincible, Collectible, Bully Capital, Gelato Man, Mick Crypto, XLR, let's go XLR. It's great having you here, my guy. Let's see here. Jedi's Kirk, good morning. RK Man, let's go. Satoshi Boshi, let's go. We got Liamzi in the house. Liamzi says, do you TP S&P 500? Do you know where my S&P TPs are, Liamzi? Because we've talked about it 2 days in a row. And I also have a box. I'm getting pixel fucked. My TPs are all through here. All right? Nothing has changed, brother. Crypto Senpai says, I just can't believe you just let go 90K and unrealized. Well, you do realize that I've been hedging, Senpai. Yep. But here's the thing, Crypto Senpai. Make sure that you get caught up on the highlights, Crypto Senpai. All right? This is when we were talking. This is when we were talking about shorting. This is when we were talking about longing. This day's highlights, I'm literally shouting out 38.5, 38. A bunch of lions already took the long here. I already knew it was going to come here because we already drew the PNL, the risk reward from here. So it always just comes down to, brother, if you know what you're doing. Do you remember this from this? And we got stopped out. I got stopped out in tiny profit on this. But we already knew on this day it was here. On this day, these days, we were talking about longing here. So if you deep down inside feel like you got to get lucky or you don't really know what you're doing, you're going to be married to the PNL because you know deep down inside you have to squeeze out every cent because you don't know when your next green trade is going to come, Crypto Senpai. But I have driven Lambos off of a cliff. You do know that I've had 300K unrealized and I got stopped out at 50K. So get ready, baby. You might see me piss away 500K, brother. I think that's when people are like, ain't no way this is real. But the math is the math. Yeah, so if you've been able to kind of follow along, Crypto Senpai, I have no regrets on not closing the short. You do know that we TP'd there, we TP'd here, and we TP'd here. You do know that, right? Yes. Literally, our TPs were maybe $100 off of these bottoms. So could we have TP'd a little bit more? Yeah, maybe. But the biggest thing is I wish I didn't, pussy out on the long and close it for tiny profit break even. Roger that. But you got to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? You could sit there and be sad for me that we missed out on 90K. But imagine if you haven't juiced at all. So sitting there sad for me isn't going to make you juice more, if that makes sense. Bugatti! Way Triplex says, you always hedge what you say. It's all impossible to follow what you say. Well, you probably are just a little bit too new. Or you can ask the OG Lions to interpret it for you, Wavy. But it's pretty clear. Probably because what your brain is wanting is just some simplified long or short, up or down. This is a game of probabilities, you know? So it's like learning how to play chess and being like, oh, there's too many combinations. Brother, it's a game of probabilities and combinations. So yeah, it's not checkers, brother. You've got to constantly be thinking if this, then this. Alrighty. But you can always ask the Lions to simplify it for you if you really need it. Jedi's Kirk says, I keep missing the live Fibception. Was that yesterday morning? I'll rewind, just curious. Jedi's Kirk, let me just I think you're smart enough to figure this out without me breaking it down. Let me show you what I did. Okay. Go to the daily and go get the big swing high, swing low. Okay? And then from each level, you do another Fibonacci. So look at where mine is from. 0.75 to 0.5. You see this fib? You see where it says 0, 42,230, 42,230? So I pulled another fib from the 0.75 to the 0.5. So a Fibonacci inside a Fibonacci, Fibception. That's all it is, Jedi's Kirk. Okay? There is no right or wrong. You could go from 1 to the 7.5 if you want and get Fibonacci levels there. You could go 786 to 382 and get Fibonacci levels from there. There is no right or wrong. I hope that helps, Jedi's Kirk. That's a little bit half-assed, but just to get you started, there you go. PB Hunter says ETH is an official shitcoin. Here's ETH, BTC. Talk to me, Lions. Is there anybody that is surprised by this? Quit playing with me. Quit playing with me. We already talked about this, y'all. Already talked about it. Bugatti. Quit playing with me. Chris says it's pixel frickin', isn't it? Isn't it, y'all? Isn't it, y'all? Everybody juicing on the math? The only people that don't know what the fuck going on is people not watching. Am I right, Lions? And I'm not talking about, hey, man, did you get the Pico short? Hey, man, did you get the Pico long? I'm talking about anticipation. I'm talking about remembering what has happened before many, 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 many times. However you want to execute it is up to you. Some people might be talking about, hey, Kimba, I took an ETH short there. Okay, do you. Some people might be like, I'm waiting for the triple bull div. Do you. Get nasty, y'all. The math is the math. FLH says, Kimba, assuming you've taken a short position at 45,750, what would be the most ideal movement in the future chart for you? We start to make lower lows. We start to make divergences that are bearish. I can't really predict the future, right, FLH? I don't know if it's going to go do some goofy-ass swing fail pattern, right? I don't know if it's going to be a failed auction. I don't know if it's going to be a 3 drives. I don't know if it's going to be like a multi-day Wyckoff distribution. That would be more like a Kimba crown, right? I can't predict what kind of shape, what kind of price action, how long it's going to take, So I guess since you framed it as what would be the most ideal movement, the fastest one would be a swing fail, okay? A failed auction or a Wyckoff distribution would take more time, and it would have a higher probability of trying to stop me out, okay? Or I could go red, and I would just have to endure it, but also give me a higher chance of really taking me down to the 32, 33s because it's going to trap longs. So you see what I'm saying, FLH? The risk reward is always a yin and a yang, brother. So the faster that I get it, right? If I get a swing fail, it'll dump quicker, but there's a higher chance that it could go and come here and bounce or come here and bounce. You know, this is the blue line, how the blue box. How goofy would it be? I hope y'all are prepared, but how goofy would it be if it doesn't grab that single print and it goes? That's a possibility. It just fails auction on the first little baby dick attempt out of the blue level. Hella funny. You know, so you got to kind of think about all the probabilities. But you know where I have my limits, correct? I just flashed them. FLH. I showed my limit entries and my stop losses. So if you need to see it again, let me know. Alrighty. But again, I can't stress this enough. Single print, TPO point of control, volume node, Fibonacci levels. You can get cute and draw VWAPs and Bollinger Bands and do whatever else you want, but so does that help, FLH? I guess I would want a swing fail, you know, but I wouldn't mind if it takes time up there, traps a whole bunch of longers, because then I can really get my 33. When would you set the 45.5 hundo at break even and cancel the other limits? Probably next Monday, SwapBZ. It depends on how the OI and CVD buildup is like. But if this really is like the juicy short down to 33, they're going to stop people out, including my dumb retail ass, in my opinion, SwapBZ. So I was kind of talking about this earlier with Alpezy and some other folks about, do you remember the whole 39.6 long that we pussyfooted and got stopped out on? So I think I will just keep the original stop loss and continue to try and get filled. I already know that there's a chance that I could be in the red while I wait for the other limits. So maybe if it lost 43.5 or something like that cluster of single print stuff, swap bay. But I think that it's going to be pretty tough, and I'm going to have to try and not get stopped out for the next day or two, I think. That's kind of what my strategy is. So how do I say this? I feel like it would at least try and go and grab and correct the poor low on the CME. So I'm willing to take a little bit of an L if I need to see this trades through. Because this is the only short that I would take until we get into the 50s. You know, we already talked about the swing fail of 48.8 high or whatever. And I could see that, but I don't think I would short that. I would be waiting probably for a 50 number, like a 50, 51, 52. So this is really probably the only short that I would attempt for a while. So Dick Flex says, so the short order filled at 45.5 is not an add-on to an existing position. It's a completely new position, right? That's correct, Dick Flex. So I'll tell you again if you want me to. I've said it already many times, but I have my limits starting at 45.5 and through 47. Some exchanges, the stop losses will start like at 47.2. Some of them will start at 47.3. So I'm balancing MEXC, tap, bit. Maybe Blowfin, but and Kraken. Earl Grey says, not sure. I didn't find this channel before. After Terra implode, I took a break from crypto, but now I'm back. Well, welcome back, Earl Grey. Solana folks around, brother. We've got a whole bunch of Solana traders. And exclamation Discord. All right, exclamation Discord. Cosmic says, good night, Kimba. Good night, brother. For 11 pieces, do you have any blind limit short? God damn, for 11 piece. I've been talking about this all day. Where have you been? But that's okay. I know you're here most of the time, so let me repeat myself again for 11 piece. I have limits from 45.5 all the way through 47, okay? I have 3 exchanges that I'm managing and trying to balance. I've got Kraken that might scam wick me. I've got Tapbit, and I don't know what the fuck that gonna do. And I've got my MEXC, okay? But conceptually speaking, brother, whether I'm adding or it's a new position because it's an exchange that I don't have a position on right now, like Tapbit, 45.5 to 47, and then 47.2, 47.3, some, like for example, on Kraken, I'm already a little bit filled on 45.5, okay? But on TapBit, on VIP, clearly I'm not, okay? Do I have limits in? Yes. Okay, for love and peace. But here's the thing, brother. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be on a 6-hour flight back to California today. Roger that. That is going to make me adjust a couple things, okay? And at the end of the day, it shouldn't really matter what I'm doing, if I have blind limits or not. If you agree with me, if you're gonna try to take a short or not, do you? I feel like we've planned about it and talked about why I would think about shorting here and what I would be looking for. So I'm still gonna have to pay attention to open interest in CVD. Okay, but to answer your question, do I have any blind limits? Yes, I'm a little bit filled, tiny filled on Kraken already. Did you hear me yesterday when I said I would love a 46,700, 46,750 entry on Kraken? Okay, and again, for love and peace, the most important thing, because we're not in the trade yet, so the most important thing isn't really about entries. Okay, it's about the risk management. Don't think of yourself as a trader. Think of yourself as a risk manager. Does that make sense? So fuck the blind limits. You should be asking me where my stop losses are, okay? Where my invalidation would be. So it's still going to come down to open interest. And and we talk about little things like, okay, well, if the TPO point of control is at 46,000, okay, what is a TPO thing? It's a time-based. TPO point of control means that it spent the most amount of time there. So if it spent the most amount of time at 46,000, that's the time point of control, and you have two 30-minute candle closes, you have significant time, quote unquote, above 46,000. That's bullish, right? So you're gonna have to do your best. I can't really predict the future, but there's little tricks and things like that I think would be common sense that you're going to be able to use to kind of help you out. Obviously, we could talk about hidden bear divs, regular bear divs. We talked about the CME pour high. What does that mean? The CME pour high. All right, there's a good chance that it might try to grab it later. Okay, this also kind of looks like a goofy like 3 drives. Dink, dink, pour high, grab it, then go. So just do your best. This isn't really like the first time we've had like a big short. You know what I mean? So be patient. They're going to try to stop all of our retail assets before they dump it, if the dump is coming. And again, I can't stress enough, this is not the only way to do it. This is not the right way to do it. This is just my way of doing it. Okay? So here you go. You see the stop loss, 47.2, 47.2, 47.2. And like I might edit this to change it to 47.3 if I need to. But yes, if I'm going to get filled blind, boy, you better have your stop loss blind as well. So if you're not watching, you have your risk managed. Even if I was watching, I would still have something wrong person, because what if it just blasts through and goes to 51.52? So here's what I would say. You might not have been there, wrong person, and I don't know if there's highlights for it, but I remember when I was pretty aggressive with some goofy shorts, and in like 15, 30 minutes, I was down negative quarter mil. Hands up if you remember that, ladies and gentlemen, and it fucking rocketed through every point of control resistance that I had. Literally like 10 levels, it just blasted through. Do you guys remember that? I was instantly down like a quarter mil. And what do I always harp on? Improving and learning. And so I always think about that in the back of my mind. So wrong person. I'm not, no, even if I'm watching it, brother, you should have, even if it's ambiguous, you should have a stop loss, in my opinion. You do you, though. There's no right or wrong. But I've sat there, bro, and been insta quarter mil. I was like, fuck, and I could have just taken a 50, 70K loss. I could have easily had like a 50, 70K loss. I had to sit there and then I have to invest even more capital and hedge and break even. Oh my God. So, love you too, James AP. Well, ladies and gentlemen, round of applause, y'all. Round of applause. Let's check out EXO. There's your daily candle close, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Thursday, motherfuckers. The math is the math. Hey, where's the daily open at? Oh shit, the daily open. Oh wow, $50 above the previous day value area high. Yes, so theoretically, you've got a CCV, aka lion full rotation. All right. So it's what we call is chase the water buffaloes to the other side of the jungle type of shit. All right, but everybody sees it. So the daily open is outside of the previous day value area high. It's not a certainty, it's just a probability. But if you get back inside the value area range and you turn that into resistance, obviously PDEQ and PDPOC is going to act as support. But the target for the short, if the value area high is turned into resistance, would be what? The value area low. Two things that I would want to remind you guys. We've seen this type of distribution, okay? And there's two things that can happen. I mean, this sounds kind of stupid. But do you guys remember when it went to PDV, it lost PDVH, the value area high, and it bounced off of PDEQ? Because if you had lost PDEQ, since the PDPOC and the PD value area low is so close to each other, the chances of the full rotation becomes a lot higher. Does that make sense? If the point of control was like here, then this would be stronger. But the fact that the point of control is so close to the value area low, if you lose the EQ, you have a high chance of rotating to the value area low. That makes sense, right? And we've seen that before, yes? You guys know what I'm talking about? You guys remember that when it went like this? Dink. And who was it? Was it Desk Slap or Living Forest that front ran the shorting of this? Somebody was like, oh man, I don't know what I did wrong. I front ran the short here. We've talked about this and we've seen this a couple of times recently now. So I'm not gonna bore you guys too much, but just remember that this needs to be turned into resistance. Don't like try to randomly short it, okay? Something that we talked about before was let them do this, and then either market short that or wait for the bearish retest. So this might be better than randomly waiting here and then just getting wrecked. But anyways, this kind of distribution makes the PDEQ a little bit stronger than normal. But since the PDPOC is all the way down with the PD value area low, you break that, you have a good chance of, and those are kind of like weak lows, right? So something to think about, like your PDEQ needs to be like a dink, because you tap that and you start triggering stop losses. So here's a good example. You can see that there's still 6.9 million in longs from this bottom to here. So for example, if this comes all the way down and you don't see this going down, guess when do you think it's going to do this? Think. When do you think it'll do this? Think. It'll probably do it when it makes a lower low. I hope that makes sense. It's all just kind of shit that we've seen. So I would just, whatever you guys can remember, just trust that. But it's kind of cool because it's not like you have to guess. We've seen a lot of stuff here. I mean, there's a Z level of like that 11,000 at 45,725. That hasn't changed since earlier. So 45.7, interesting little cluster, but then to the downside between 44,850 and 41,175, there's a lot too. You know, there's pockets of liquidity down here at like 36.3, 40.9, 43.6, but since it's on the 12-hour, I'm not going to really put too much emphasis on that. I think the range up here and the range down here is the most relevant. And then here's your, at least until like for the next 12 hours anyways. Here's the 7-day. So you do have all of this. You can see the Z levels. They bounce around between like 38, like high 30s into like 60s, right? You've got a couple 60s, 62s, 50s, 47s. So this cluster starts from like 46,850, runs all the way to like 47,350. All right. But you've got, 41,6, 41,250, 39, 38, and then obviously the 34.6. And then here is your 1 month. So again, 46.7, 46.8 kind of starts to look interesting. I think this will change. I'm hoping tomorrow when I wake up that there's a bright yellow line. It's a lot closer to the entry that I want. But you see this? Like it kind of tops out at like 46.7, but or maybe 46.8. You know, this is where you start to understand like why I said I would love my Kraken entry to be like 46.750. Alrighty, but I would think that this will change a little bit with time. And then here's your 3 month Bugatti. All right, so I don't want to get too carried away, but you're talking about 1.5 million Z level, 1.5, 1.3, 1 million, 1.3, all around the 35s, 33. This is what I'm talking about when I say I hope the 45, 46 short works. All righty, and you know what? Let me also throw in ETH because if you're still here after such a long stream, you guys are definitely part of the Try Hard clan, and I gotta show some love and respect. So again, there's a bunch of random Z levels up there at 2658, 2514, but the immediate cluster is around the 2460 to 2470, and then to the downside, it's like 2418 all the way down to 2384 on the smaller time frame. Here's the 7-day for ETH. So Lord have mercy on ETH. Your Z level, the brightest, is around 43,000 at that 2515, 2520 mark. I guess to the downside, you have a couple of clusters around 2330, you know, and then you've got a big cluster from about 2200, 2220, all the way to 2290. Okay, so and then here's the 1 month. But the higher time frame that we get, it becomes battle. So you've got a big Z level around 2750, 2780. I love that, but let's grab this shit first. This is the sub 2000 shit that I'm talking about. So your biggest cluster of 196 Z level is at 2080. And I would love to get like a wick on a sub 2000. I would love like a 1900, 1800 long. But this is, again, 1 month, so it's not that relevant. And then let's just go Kingfisher all leverage there you go. Alrighty, so what do they want to grab first? We'll find out, ladies and gentlemen. Stay safe. Longers, I'm rooting for you. Shorters, I'm rooting for you. Bulls, Bears, we're all lions. Work together, help each other out, show some love. I'll see you guys tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully it's from this computer. Sato, tell them what happens if they don't use stop loss.